I want you to see that advocating for a promotion is not actually about you. It's about them and the impact that you can bring to your organization at a higher level.
Welcome to Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and I teach you how to get promoted, get paid, and bring your whole self to the leadership table. I am on a mission to change organizations from the C-suite out because women are the new face of leadership, and we are doing it on our terms.
Hello, corporate badasses. Welcome to another episode of Women Changing Leadership. I am your host, Stacy Mayer, and super excited, as always, to be here with you again this week. I have gotten so many exciting messages from clients this week. We've had so many wins, promotion opportunities. I helped another client negotiate a higher level salary. And I really want to read to you a client win. And I'm just going to read the email directly because her words are stronger than mine could ever be right before we get into today's podcast episode so that you can see what's possible for you. If you're listening to this episode, what I'm about to share with you is absolutely not only possible, it becomes inevitable when you put the right pieces into place. All right, so here's the email. Hello from a former client. I wanted to share a bit of good news. I got a surprise promotion today. This is huge, right? Can you imagine what it'd be like if somebody just said to you one day when you go into the office, hey, here's a promotion. And that's exactly what she received yesterday, just yesterday. I was doing a lot of 15-minute connects with people earlier this year, and I was offered the opportunity to move into a different leadership path that would open up some additional opportunities for me. Promotions have been pretty tough to come by, and I was working on the case for the next promotion cycle. So next year, 2026, maybe in June or December, right? So that's the plan. She was setting herself up for her next promotion, but she got the call today that she's in the promotion cycle for this December. I hadn't even asked directly for the promotion yet, and I got it. And a nice pay raise and equity just by showing strong executive skills. And this woman's not even at the executive level. So she's showing up as the executive ahead of time. Even in super regimented organizations, the skills you teach work. I can't believe that since I met you about 4.5 years ago, I have increased my salary by almost $100,000. My friends, this is absolutely available to you. And the process that she's talking about is one sliver of my executive promotion process. And you can begin to start adapting that in your life today. And in today's episode, I'm actually going to share with you something that I think is a misconception about the work that I do and what I'm asking you to do and what you are going to do instead when it comes to advocating for your promotion. So a lot of women will tell me that they don't really need a promotion. And if you're listening and you're like, who doesn't need a promotion? If that seems absurd to you, I want to share with you that place that it's coming from. Of course, if given a surprise promotion, everybody needs it. Everybody wants a promotion when it's given to them. But what we don't actually want is to have to advocate for our promotion, have to ask for our promotion because it feels hard, it feels sticky. Also, maybe it's because you have the belief that if you do good work, promotions will happen. Maybe it's not even a belief. Maybe you've actually been told that by your boss. Like many of my clients have been told that very directly. Keep doing what you're doing and you'll be rewarded. And then come promotion cycle time, guess what? Nothing happens. They don't actually want you to keep doing what you're doing. I mean, they do want you to keep doing what you're doing so that you stay right there and you're a good employee or a good manager, right? This is the way that the corporate hierarchy is set up. And they're not doing it maliciously. Like maybe they really do want to promote you in March or June or whatever month it is. But the truth is that in order to actually advocate and have leverage for your promotion, you can't actually keep doing what you're doing. You have to go above and beyond. But the thing that many of us think above and beyond means taking on other projects, doing more work, working more hours, getting bigger results for the company. And none of that is the case. You know this is true because you've done all of those things. You've taken on bigger projects. You've taken on more hours at work. You've done bigger projects and gotten nothing. And that is because that is not actually a promotion formula. So a lot of people who are saying like, I don't want a promotion, or, I'm not eligible for promotion, or I'm not in the position to advocate for a promotion. It's usually coming from this place of like, I don't want to have to sell myself. I don't want to have to play politics. I don't want to have to do something different, because a lot of you, if you're a corporate badass, like most of my listeners, you're good at your job. And so to think, oh, I have to be even better at my job, that can feel really daunting and overwhelming. And I'm already putting in so many hours and I don't know how I could possibly do more. But the truth is that what I'm teaching you is not doing more. It's doing it better, right? Doing something different, right? Taking a different, more leveraged approach to your career building. So I want you to think what comes to mind when I say advocating for your promotion. What is the first thing that you think of? Typically, it could be asking, right? Asking quite literally for a promotion. Or let's say you hear me suggest to have ally meetings with other leaders across the organization. And then you go into those meetings and you ask to work on their team, or you ask for a job, or you ask for advice on how to get a promotion, right? And none of those things are actually the process that I teach. Now, I will say there is a time and a place where it can be quite simple. You just say, hey, I would like a promotion. And guess what? You might actually get it. But it's not typically part of your daily conversation. And I'll tell you when you can actually appropriately say, hey, I want a promotion. But that's like, 1% of the time that you're having a conversation with your boss. So what are you doing for the other 99% of the time? I'm going to tell you. But before I do that, I want you to also understand that advocating for a promotion and, really taking ownership of your career, for a lot of women, it has and carries the same principles of sales. And when we think about being a salesperson, right, we think, oh, we're asking for the sale. We're asking somebody to buy from us. We're asking for a client to come into our company. But I have a lot of women in my programs who work in sales, and they do not view sales that way. They view sales as a back and forth conversation, as a mutually beneficial agreement, as we have something that is of value to you, and you are going to spend the money for that value, right? And when you think of sales this way, you start to kind of get over this idea that sales is like ego driven. Like every sale that I make puts more money in my pocket. Like that doesn't feel good. But a lot of people are approaching their promotions that way, like from this ego place. So if you actually think that I'm telling you that you have to go to your boss and ask for a promotion every 6 weeks, or every time you have an ally meeting conversation with a senior executive leader, you have to ask for a promotion, then of course you're not going to do it, because most women are not driven solely by ego, right? Like you might be fed up, and I have a lot of women that are like fed up and they should be getting paid more and they want more influence and respect and they're over it and they're ready to speak up and all of those things. But for the most part, we don't care so much about the title. But what we want is the influence. We want to truly be able to impact our organization at the highest level, right? And so if that's something that you want, it feels contradictory to say, I want a promotion. It's much easier to instead say, hey, can I take on a bigger project? And then in the back of your mind, the reason you're asking for that bigger project is not necessarily to deliver more value to your company, but because you kind of think it will lead to a promotion, right? Like, really ask yourself, why did you take on that bigger project? Because you thought you would get compensated for it eventually. And then when you don't, you feel frustrated and then you want to quit your job. And now you've let your company down in a different way. And so I want you to see that advocating for a promotion is not actually about you. It's about them and the impact that you can bring to your organization at a higher level. Goes back to the principles of sales. One of the number one principles of sales is that when you're building that connection, you can't make it about you closing the sale. It has to be about the customer and how whatever it is that we're selling is going to help the customer. So we have a product that we're selling and it's going to help the customer. So when you are advocating for a promotion, you're advocating the value that you bring to the organization. It's not about you. Recently, I had a client that was given feedback on her previous position, and she had a pretty high level position. And she was told that sometimes it seemed like she was a little self-conscious, that she felt like she was being left out. And so sometimes when she would say, "Hey guys, can I come to that meeting?" it would come off as like FOMO, essentially, that she was missing out on something. And she's like, "I'd never want to do that again," right? That's a terrible feeling to think, oh, I'm in an executive level position and people are reading FOMO and lack of confidence. Like, that doesn't feel good. So you don't want to do that again. And what I told her was, instead of, it's not that you were wrong by trying to join the meeting, right? Like, if you think you need to be at that board meeting or you think you need to be included in that conversation, it's not wrong of you to ask to be included in those meetings. But you have to remember that when you're asking, it's not because you need to be there. It's not because you want to be there. It's not because they left you out of that particular meeting. In fact, it's not personal at all. Really, 99% of the time, it's because they have other priorities, right? Something else that they're going to be talking about in the meeting, and it doesn't really affect you, right? But let's say you want to raise your hand and you want to be included in that conversation. It's really important to make it not about you, but to make it about them, right? And about the work that you're working on, right? So let's say you work in a marketing team. You want to be included in that meeting, that board meeting, that executive meeting, because marketing needs to be represented. Does this make sense? Versus, hey, I noticed that I didn't get a meeting invite. I'd like to come, right? It's like, no, I noticed that marketing's not represented here. I would like to come. Or whatever it is that you bring to the conversation, but it has to do with the organization or how you can impact them. So when you know this principle of advocating for yourself is really about the value that you bring and what's in it for them, and it has nothing to do with you, maybe you'll be more likely to ask, right? You might be more likely to raise your hand. You might be more likely to say at some point throughout the year, that 1% of the time, hey, I would like to be promoted, but not because I want to be promoted, but because I want to make a bigger impact at this organization. I know that if I was operating at that vice president level, then I could have more influence. And here are the reasons why, right? I can help you better. I can make your job easier, whatever that might be for you. Once you know that a promotion is not necessarily advocating for your promotion anyway, is not necessarily about you, it's about them and what you can do at that next level of leadership, you can and hopefully would be empowered to raise your hand, empowered to do more. Now, the other piece is these 15-minute ally conversations. So, this win that I shared at the beginning of today's conversation, she talked about using my process of 15-minute ally meetings over the past couple of years. And a lot of people have a really hard time with what do I talk about in these conversations. And I'll use something like I'll say, whatever you talk about, it's not about work. And here's what I mean about that, because we don't want to make it about ourselves, like you don't want it to be all about you or getting another job, or, you definitely don't want to be sneaky, like scheduling these meetings behind your boss's back or something like that. Like that can feel very manipulative and weird. You don't want to seem like you're kissing butt. And so what you do is you use this principle and you make it about them. But instead of actually making it about them, you make it about you. It's just sneaky. So here's what it sounds like. Hey, I'm meeting with you today because I want to see ways that we can partner together, like ways that my team can support your team, right? That's like, I don't know, it's like the go-to for anybody who's having a meeting with an executive, right? They talk about the work that their team is doing, and then they're like, how can my team help you? And maybe that executive has a few ideas and they tell you some things that they can help you. And then maybe you like doing those things and it works out, but most of the time it just ends up being extra work, or it does get back to your boss and your boss is like, "Why are we now doing all this stuff for them?" And you're like, "Oh, I asked for it." Like that doesn't feel good. So that's when the conversations are about work, but it's really because you're making the conversation about you. Right? So, yeah, you might not be talking about you getting a promotion or you moving over to their team, but it is about your work and like kind of wanting to show, hey, I can help you. But what's better than that, and the way that I actually teach 15-minute ally meetings, is to make the conversation truly about them. Maybe it's about what keeps them up at night. Maybe it's about their leadership journey. Maybe it's about what challenges they're facing in their org. And then being willing to listen to them without coming up with a solution. I mean, you can say things like, have you tried this? Have you thought about this? Or, oh, in my previous role, I did something like this. But for the most part, it's 15 minutes and you're keeping the conversation super duper high level, right? And it's important because when you're doing that, you're really genuinely letting them talk about their goals and about what they're thinking about and what their priorities are. And it would be really nice if you asked about their career journey, what is their long-term vision for their career? What do they hope to do next? Like they don't get asked these questions on a regular basis, and it gets them thinking about things in a different way. And guess what? You're sitting on the opposite side of the table while they're having this conversation. So they're looking at you and they're like, oh my gosh, she's amazing, right? Like, I'm so glad you met with me. This is fantastic. Let's do it again. And so essentially, what you did is you brought value to them. You brought value to the organization. You brought value to the company. And we think of value as like, what can I do for you? Like, what hours can I put in? But true value is having a deeper level intellectual, especially at the executive level. True value is making them think, right? Not putting them on the spot, but having a deeper level conversation, showing that you actually care. And it really is what's in it for them. What's in it for them doesn't have to be taking on their work. So when you begin to go through your days at work and you think in this way of like, it's not about me, it's about them. When you go through your work and you're thinking, how do I advocate for my promotion in a way that's actually about my boss? Then you're talking to your boss about being their successor. So that you're actually saying, hey, I want a promotion. Like, I want to be your successor. But that means that I got to step up, like, right? I have to learn some of the leadership skills that you have. I want to grow into this role. What is it I need to do to set myself up for that next level of leadership? To help them, not because you deserve it, but because you want to give value and stay at this organization. It's incredibly freeing. It allows you, like, start to think about it this week in your conversations. And am I making them all about me, or am I making it about the other person or the value that I bring to the organization? When you start communicating more in this way, not only are you going to sound more like an executive leader, but you're going to start to receive the benefits of an executive leadership role, which means you might actually get it, right? You're going to get that surprise promotion because you're acting like that executive. You're showing up and engaging in conversations like an executive leader. You're not just taking on more work and more projects in the hopes that they'll notice you. This is the process of making it not about you. It's about them. Yes, you need to be included in that meeting, but why? Because of the value that you bring, because your group needs to be represented in this meeting. That's why you need to be in that meeting. And then between you and me, we can say, because I want to be, right? I deserve it, right? But when we're talking to them or even just talking to ourselves, it's much more motivational to say, hey, I want to be included so that I can bring more, like so that I can have that more influential work at the top. That is true leadership. That is when you really start to lead your career, and that's when other people are going to notice you. And you're going to get your surprise promotion. It happens, people. I have the proof this week to say that, right? It's amazing. And it happens. This is not the first email like this that I have received, and it definitely will not be the last. If you're listening to this conversation and you want to be like my client who recently was promoted, you're looking at the end of the year runway, you want to set yourself up for 2026, I want to offer you a very special opportunity to work with me in my one-on-one coaching program. Between now and the end of the year, I am gifting you the remainder of the year, basically the month of December, free coaching if you sign up for a 2-month one-on-one coaching package. So if this is something that you've been thinking about and you've been listening to this podcast and you're like, now is the time, I am ready to say yes, and I'm not going to wait to sign up until 2026. I want to invite you to book a call with me at stacymayer.com/discovery. We'll have a brief, no obligation conversation to see if you're a good fit and if I can really help you in the next couple of months to reach your big goals. I want you to be set up for so much influence, so much impact at your organization. And all it takes is simple shifts in both how you're thinking about advocating for your next promotion and also the words that you're actually saying. Are you making the words coming out of your mouth? Do they sound like they're all about you, or do they sound like they're all about them? Once you can shift those words to being all about them, opportunities become available. So I look forward to meeting you more personally on a call, stacymayer.com/discovery. And otherwise, have a wonderful week. I'll see you again soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Women Changing Leadership with Stacy Mayer. If you enjoyed this episode, you are absolutely going to love and benefit from the work that we're doing inside of the Women's Leadership Accelerator. This month-to-month membership program is unlike anything else in the market. We are single-handedly flipping the unemployment rates on their head. It is the only place on the internet where you can actually get yourself not only a job offer, but one that has a higher salary, a higher title, and more recognition and influence than you ever could have imagined in your career. Inside the Women's Leadership Accelerator, we are getting women promoted. We are getting them multiple higher level job offers. And I want that to happen for you. Join us in this one-of-a-kind program. You're going to get coaching directly from me, my executive mentors who are also hiring managers who are doing the work, who have worked with me personally for the past 3 to 5 years. We are here inside of this accelerator program to work with you personally to begin to elevate your leadership to that next level. This is exactly what you have been looking for, and I am here to deliver it to you. Best thing, it's month to month. So you can come in, join us, get access to all of my training materials, my weekly live interactive calls, and you can begin to bring your friends into this community. It is the most corporate badass community on the market. I can't wait to see you in there. Go to authenticallypowerfulwomen.com. We are changing the face of the leadership table one promotion at a time. I can't wait to see you there.